Hey everybody, it's Angela, and I'm back with another process video. This one is a layout, and the picture is of my new granddaughter, Allison, and she was born last Saturday. So this picture is taken when she was 3 days old. And so I wanted to do one of her first scrapbook layouts here. And I'm starting with my gelatos, and I'm just putting some color onto my craft sheet and spraying it with some water. And I'll take my paintbrush and just kind of mix the colors a little bit. And then I'm going to take my mixed media paper that I've cut down to 11 by 11 and just kind of dip it in there. And then there was some extra stuff on the sheet, so I just let that drip down on there. After I did it though, it had more peach than pink, so I wanted to get a little more pink in there, so I'm just going to draw directly on there and then spritz it right onto the paper. So I put a little more of the soft pink, spritz it with water, and then I'm kind of liking how that is so far, and so I go ahead and dry it with my heat tool. And I'm going to add even more pink, but I didn't want the colors to muddy together too much, so I kind of dry them at different stages within the coloring process here. So I just go ahead and dry that. And I'm going to do a lot of playing on this video with different techniques. So this is a little bit longer video than most of mine are. But I went ahead and showed the whole process, even though I didn't wind up using all of the different elements. So anyhow, at this point I wanted to add a little more of that really dark pink, so I'm just drawing it right onto a piece of packaging. And then I'll spritz it with water and use my paintbrush to kind of muddle it a little bit. And that gives a little more saturated color, and now I'm going in with the dark pink. Just spraying a little water, and that gives a few of those darker pink touches on there. And then I have a few little splatters left on the cellophane, so I'm just kind of dotting those around. But I wanted mostly just one central band of color running across the sheet, and that's what I was going for. So at this point, I'm just going to dry it up. And I was thinking I was going to do it as a horizontal band. I eventually wind up turning the whole layout so that it is a vertical band of color through the layout. But, you know, I'm just kind of have a very general idea of what I want to do at this point. So go ahead and get those dried up. And I love where the colors kind of pool and make it a little bit darker, and then some of the lighter colors, and it's just really soft and really pretty. So I go ahead and use a napkin just to blot that and make sure it's completely dry. And there's the picture I'm going to use, and it's got pinks, oranges, and there's a tiny touch of green in there. So I'm deciding to use this. I have a die cut of a heart and an embossing folder. And then I bought this bunch of vellum at the Goodwill for like $1.99, a huge bunch of vellum. So I'm going to run this vellum through my embossing folder. And then I don't know if I want to use these hearts or not, and I don't know exactly which color. So I grab a couple different colors of cardstock, and I'll run this heart through, because I figure if I don't use them on this layout, I can definitely use them on another layout. So I think I'm off getting some cardstock, and then I cut them, and there is the embossed thing. And isn't that pretty? I love embossed vellum. And then here are the hearts that I punched out. And this cardstock, that lightest pink cardstock, was kind of a heavy weight, and so it didn't punch through as well as the other two. I probably should have shimmed it, but so right now I'm just going to cut down my vellum to just where the embossing is. And then my picture is a little bit bigger, and at first I think of just kind of offsetting the picture from the vellum, but since there's a lot of open space on that right hand side, I wind up just trimming my photo down just a little bit so it fits on that vellum. And then at this point I'm thinking of using that heart right behind there, but just kind of testing the other colors that I cut. I like that lightest one the best, and so I thought, well, I'll just punch those out and I'll do that off camera because that'd take a while to do that. Then I also got this chalk ink, this Prima chalk ink. I think it's called Old Rose, in my Scraptastic kit this last month. So I'm just using that to go around the edge of the paper. So I'm liking how it is so far, and then here's where I'm really going to start to play. I have a bunch of these small elements from Saw Crafters. Hi Saw, and she sent me some freebies, some gifts when I purchased my last order or two, and so I just have a bunch of these little things. I ordered quite a few small elements just to do this type of thing on my layouts. I had some of her bigger stuff, but I didn't have very many of her small items. So I placed an order for a bunch of small items, and I'm pulling out things that to me seem like childhood and baby and dreaming and, you know, like music. I think of nursery rhymes, and I've got like a bunny, a pony, a seahorse, heart with wings, butterflies, ballet dancers. Saw's got some beautiful, beautiful pieces. And so I'm just pulling these out, and I'm going to play with them with a bunch of different techniques. Oh, and I have the chandelier too, which is really pretty. So I try a bunch of different stuff. Not all of them are going to wind up on the layout, but I wanted to play with them and kind of show you some of the different things you can do with these pieces, because there's just so many possibilities. I start off for this layout painting everything white. So I'll do that off camera. I had one cloud that I'd painted white for something else, so that one was already done. And so here they are all painted. And the first technique I'm going to try is I wanted to flock the cloud so that it was fluffy. And hopefully I'm not the only one out there that has flocking. I don't know, it was pretty big there for a while, and I still have a set of flocking powders, and then I also have this one jar of flock that has, it's white flock with iridescent glitter in it. So that's the one I'm using on this, and I just put some glue down, put the flock on there, and you can see it really makes the cloud fluffy, and it gives it a soft fuzzy texture. So it's really, really cute, and it works great for a baby layout, as you know, far as my opinion, because I always think of things that are soft and cuddly and stuff. So I also want to do the bunny, but I was thinking of using pink flock on him. And I know that the flock isn't completely opaque. So you want to, if you want it to look opaque, you need to color your base surface with the same color that your flock is going to be. So I wanted to try using pink flock on the bunny rabbit. So I just colored him with some pink ink, and now I'm going in with some glue, just some Aleene's tacky glue, and then I'll go ahead and put the pink flock on him, and he turns out really cute. In the end, this layout, I wind up making using all of my embellishments just white, but I love this bunny so much. I went back and I flocked another one white to use on my layout. So I didn't use this particular bunny, but I wanted to show you what he would look like pink. Just really cute. Oh my gosh. It turns out fuzzy, and you just want to pet him. And hopefully I'm not the only one out there that still has their flocking powder. I have that little stack of flock, and then that one iridescent one. So this one I am going to try beads on. When I think of seahorses and water and bubbles, I think of beads for some reason. So I have this bead soup that I got at Tuesday morning. I got that whole thing was like $2.99 for all those jewelry fittings and beads and string and everything. So I'm just kind of picking through it, looking at some of the beads that are in there. but these ones are a little bit too big. So I picked out, I have another little set of beads I got at Tuesday morning for a few dollars. And they're these little seed beads. I have some micro beads somewhere, but I don't have any pinks. So I went ahead and used the seed beads. And again, I'm doing kind of the same thing. I'm just covering it with glue, and I put the beads on. And then I also wind up putting a little glitter because the beads, you know, they're bigger so they don't cover completely. So any of the open areas, I put the glitter so it kind of falls down in between and coats the whole thing. And I actually do go back over this with a little bit of like Mod Podge or something just to seal the glitter in, because I don't like the glitter just falling off everywhere. So when I put glitter or beads on something, I usually Mod Podge over the top of them just to hold it all in there and encase it. So there I'm putting the glitter on, a little bit of the white glitter, a little bit of the pink, and then more of the white. So that fills in any gaps between the beads. It turns out really cute. Again, like I said, I wind up just going with white embellishments in the end, so I don't actually use this, but I wanted to show you this technique in case it's something that you like the look of. Let's see, then the next thing I try after I put my beads away is some embossing powder and the chandelier. And I wanted to stick on this glitter, but I wanted the glitter not to flake off. So I'm first going to emboss it with some ultrafine white embossing powder. And then I'm just going to heat that up. And then while the embossing is still wet, I'm just putting a little bit of sparkle glitter on there. And it kind of sticks in the hot embossing liquid. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to put that, just get some of the embossing powder and glitter on there and then reheat it. And it gives it a beautiful sparkling effect. So I love how that turned out. It's really pretty. You can't really see the sparkles on the video, but in person you can definitely see the glitter in there, the iridescent glitter. And then the last thing I do is just to emboss a couple things. Oh, here I am. Oh, I didn't use Mod Podge. I guess I just used tacky glue on this particular one. I just put a little coating of clear glue over the top, and that keeps any of the glitter and stuff from falling off. If you're one of those people that doesn't like your glitter or beads or anything popping off later, you know, you can just coat it. So I decided to do the ballerina and I think one of the butterflies with this pink embossing powder, just embossing powder by itself. So I put this in there, and I was really careful with both the chandelier and this ballerina where I have to put the Versamark embossing stuff on there. I pushed it into the pad, but I was really careful not to snap the wood elements because they are made out of MDF, and if you press too hard or something, you risk snapping some of those delicate areas. So I tried to be really careful, and they turned out just beautiful. So this one I embossed in this light pink embossing powder, and I really love that. And then I go ahead, so I have another one in that color, I go ahead and do one of the butterflies here. And then of course, like I said, I changed my mind and go with all white elements. So now I have a few things that are already colored pink for the next project that I do. So I go ahead and just drop that one several times, and there we go. Emboss that one pink so it has a nice slick pink surface to it. So there are all my elements. And what do I do next? I start looking through some of my other embellishments. You can see I got some flowers out. I wasn't sure I was going to put flowers on there or not. And I just kind of went shopping in my embellishments. I looked at rub-ons, I looked at stickles. You could just see some of my thought process, and none of those were doing it for me. So I go ahead and I put some of the elements on, and I'm kind of just figuring out what I want to do. And like I said, at first I was thinking I would do it as a horizontal band across the layout, and then I changed my mind and wind up doing it vertically. But you can kind of see my thought process. I'm just kind of playing and having fun. And I think I was watching Saw's little garden gate mini that she's been making on my tablet there while I was doing this. And I just loved these, but it just didn't feel cohesive. There was nothing tying them together. So I went back into my stash and I found some die cuts, some Kaisercraft die cuts, and I'll show you those here in a second. And I also decided to turn the band of color vertically, and that just made a big difference. So I've got these two Kaisercraft. That one is Storyteller. I don't know what the other one was. They were on sale at a Cherry on Top here. And I just loved the florals. It had the pinks and it had a little bit of green, and it was something that could kind of flow between the MDF embellishments and just connect everything and soften everything. So I go ahead and put some of these roses on there. And now with that, it really just kind of starts coming together for me. Sometimes you really struggle, and then finally things just start to come together. And I love that little bunny rabbit. That's the one I recolored him with the white flock that has some iridescent glitter in it. He's the same as the cloud. I put some pink cardstock behind the heart on the little heart with wings. I have my little music notes. And it just looks like she's kind of looking up at some of the things next to her and kind of dreaming about things, and it just kind of gives it a magical look to it. There's a little bunny. I know he's like supposed to be for Easter, but he works great on a baby page. A little pony. Or horse. It's actually a horse. And what I do is I put a little bit of dot adhesive on there, and then I put the rest in wet glue, and the dot adhesive just holds it in place while the wet glue dries. So there I go. I put a little bit of dot adhesive, then I go back with my wet glue. When I think of babies, I always kind of think of music and nursery rhymes and stuff like that. I was going to put that heart on there, but it was kind of right below the heart with wings. And I remembered I had a butterfly somewhere, so I was looking all over for it. And then I finally found the little butterfly, so that seemed to work better than having one heart right below the other. So I use a little butterfly. And these little wings are so cute. She's got a bigger set, and I've used them on a layout before, and now she's come out with this smaller version that she included in my last order, and they're just so cute. So now I'm going to put the little cloud, little fuzzy cloud on there. I was so happy to use my flocking powder that I hadn't used for quite a while. There, I've got my chandelier. It's nice and sparkly. And I think well, I had that one piece of cut off rose there. I go ahead and put it at the bottom, and I really like how that kind of went off the edge, so I cut another one to go off the edge up on the top, and it just looks like that band of embellishment kind of continues. So I'm really liking that. I think about putting these little beads on there, but they kind of blended in just a little bit too much, and the color wasn't quite right. So I went in my stash and I found some brads, some Pebbles resin flower brads, and they had some of the perfect colors. They had that bright pinky red, a soft peach, and then they had a little bit of mint green that matched in with those die cuts. So I go ahead and take one of each of those to just make some little more saturated pops of color up through that band of embellishments. And then I decide to use that heavier, darkest color on the bottom. Put it there. And then the peach is going to go kind of right there in the middle section. And kind of pick up on that peach in the background. And then the mint is going to go up at the top. And I like it too because usually if you put those resin flowers on by themselves, they kind of poke up too much. But with having all the wood elements on there too, it kind of just evens everything out. So I go ahead and cover up my photo, and I'm using some of my gold Heidi Swapp ink and just making some little splatters along that same kind of column of embellishments. And let's see, what do I do next? Oh, I went and looked for some cardstock to back it all on, and I found this light pink cardstock. So I go ahead, I put a lot of adhesive because it did warp a little bit, not too bad, but a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that the cardstock would help straighten it out. So I put quite a bit of adhesive on there. And then because my gold splatters were still wet, it takes a while for that gold to dry. I couldn't just completely smooth it down right then. So I was really afraid of smearing that gold. And at this point in the layout, I just really didn't want to smear it. So I tried to dry it up. Even that didn't dry it up all the way. I had to just be really careful and wait. So I have this last Saw Crafter's piece, which says Precious. And I kind of, I think I put a little bit of the pink gelatos. I kind of smushed it down into the words first, and then I painted it kind of over the top afterwards so that the word Precious looks kind of pink colored, and then everything around it is kind of white. So I have this white soft fiber trim that's just a little offcut that's been in my stash. And I just want to kind of fill those holes and not have the holes show. So I'm just knotting it a couple times and cutting the ends pretty short. And that just softens the piece up. And I'm going to put it right in there somewhere. I look at other places and kind of liking that the best is kind of the title of the page. I didn't stamp on this. I'll probably go back and just write, you know, Allison at 3 days or something like that on there. But there we go. There is my finished layout. I'm going to hold it up here for some close-ups. I really love the way it turned out. It's soft, it's feminine, it's kind of dreamy and magical. It looks like a nursery rhyme of just little images floating around her. And so I really love how it turned out. So I'll put links to all the Saw Crafters elements that I used on there, but I love that bunny. I mean, it's soft and fuzzy and it's got that little bit of sparkle. And there's the precious. You can kind of see the pink down inside the wording there. Music notes and the pony. Butterfly. Flying hearts, chandelier. Just lots of different little things to float down the middle of that layout. So there is my finished layout, and thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave me a comment below. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.